I used to think coming home meant safety. It meant warmth. It meant walking through that door after a long shift and seeing my wife smile, feeling like I belonged somewhere. But the night, Sarah looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you do not like my mom living here, you can leave." I realized I had been wrong. Home was not where I lived anymore. It had not been for months. That apartment, the one with my name on the lease, had become a battlefield where I was losing every single day. Before I tell you how this all started, I would love to know, where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. If you have ever felt invisible in your own home, hit that like button right now. And subscribe, because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about marriage and respect. Let me take you back to where it all began, to the day I thought I was doing something good. My name is Graham. I am 32 years old, and I work in logistics for a mid-sized company on the outskirts of the city. It is not glamorous work, lots of spreadsheets, phone calls with suppliers making sure shipments arrive on time, but it pays the bills. The hours are long. Sometimes I clock in at 7 in the morning and do not leave until 6 at night, but the paycheck is steady, enough to live comfortably, if not extravagantly. I had been married to Sarah for 3 years when everything started to unravel. Those first years were good, really good. Sarah was thoughtful, attentive, the kind of person who would leave little notes in my lunchbox or text me during the day just to check in. We had plans. We talked about saving up to buy a house in a few years, maybe starting a family. Life felt like it was moving in the right direction. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in an older building, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Well, technically it was mine. When we first moved in together, Sarah was working part-time at a retail store, and her income was not stable enough to convince the landlord. So I put my name on the lease, just mine. It made things easier, and I did not think twice about it. The rent was $750 a month, reasonable for the area, and I paid it from my checking account every month without fail. Our daily routine was simple. I would wake up early, shower, grab coffee, and head to the office. Sarah would sleep in a bit, then go to her shifts at the store. We would meet back at the apartment in the evenings, cook dinner together, watch television, talk about our days. It was ordinary, comfortable, safe. Then, one evening about 4 months ago, Sarah brought up her mom. We were sitting on the couch after dinner, and she turned to me with this hesitant look on her face. "Honey," she said, "I need to talk to you about something." I muted the television. "What is up?" "It is about my mom," she said. "She's going through a tough time right now." Sarah's mom, Linda, had just gone through a divorce from her second husband, Sarah's stepdad. The split had been messy, and as part of the settlement, their house had been sold. Linda needed somewhere to stay while she looked for a new place. "She just needs a temporary place to crash," Sarah said, her voice soft, almost pleading. "Just until she finds her own apartment, maybe 2 or 3 months at most." I looked at Sarah, saw the worry in her eyes, and felt my chest tighten. This was her mother. How could I say no? "Of course," I said. "She can stay with us. It is no problem." Sarah's face lit up. She leaned over and kissed me. "Thank you. You are amazing. I promise it will not be for long." 2 days later, Linda arrived with a large suitcase and several boxes of belongings. She was a woman in her mid-50s, 56 to be exact, with short auburn hair, and a personality that filled a room. Energetic, talkative. And I would soon learn, controlling. At first, things seemed fine. Linda cooked dinner a few nights, which was nice. She tidied up around the apartment, did some laundry, and I thought, maybe this will not be so bad. Maybe having her here will even help out. But within the first week, small things started to change. I came home one evening and immediately noticed something was off. "Where is my bookshelf?" I asked Sarah, looking at the empty corner of the living room where I had kept my collection of paperbacks and a few sports memorabilia. "Oh, Linda moved it," Sarah said casually, not even looking up from her phone. "She said it looked better by the window." I walked over to the window and found my bookshelf crammed into a tight space where it barely fit. My books were stacked haphazardly, and one of my signed baseballs had been shoved onto the bottom shelf, half hidden behind a stack of magazines I did not recognize. "She could have asked me first," I muttered. Sarah shrugged. "It is just furniture, Graham. Does it really matter?" It did matter, but I did not want to start an argument over a bookshelf. So I let it go. Then there was the refrigerator. I opened it one morning to grab the leftover pizza I'd been looking forward to, only to find it was gone. In its place were containers of salads, quinoa dishes, and some kind of green juice that smelled like grass clippings. "Where is the pizza?" I asked Linda, who was sitting at the kitchen table reading a magazine. "Oh, I threw that out," she said without looking up. "It was greasy and unhealthy. I made you a nice kale salad instead. It is in the blue container." I stared at her, then at the blue container, then back at her. "You threw out my food." "You will thank me later," she said, flipping a page. "Your body will feel so much better." I did not eat the kale salad. I went to work hungry and grabbed a burger on my lunch break. The television became another battleground. Every evening, Linda would settle into the living room with the remote control cycling through reality shows and soap operas I had no interest in. One Friday night, I came home exhausted, looking forward to watching the baseball game. The playoffs were on, and my team was playing. But when I walked into the living room, Linda was already parked on the couch watching some show about people renovating houses. "Hey, Linda," I said, trying to sound polite. "Do you mind if I switch to the game? It starts in 10 minutes. She glanced at me, then back at the screen. "Oh, sweetie, I'm right in the middle of this episode. Can you watch it in the bedroom?" I stood there for a moment, stunned. This was my apartment, my television, but I did not want to cause a scene, so I turned around and went to the bedroom, closing the door behind me. I sat on the edge of the bed, remote in hand, and watched the game on the small television we kept in there. It felt wrong. Like I was a guest in my own home. 2 months passed, then 3. The timeline Sarah had promised, 2 or 3 months at most, came and went. Linda showed no signs of leaving. I started to worry. One evening, I pulled Sarah aside. "Hey," I said quietly, "has your mom found a place yet?" Sarah's expression shifted, becoming guarded. "She is looking, but you know how expensive rent is these days. Everything is so overpriced. Give her a little more time." "How much more time?" I asked, trying to keep my tone gentle. "I do not know Graham. She is doing her best." But I did not see any evidence of Linda looking for a place. She was not on her laptop browsing rental listings. She was not making phone calls to landlords. She was comfortable. Too comfortable. And she was becoming more assertive. She started inviting her friends over without asking me. I would come home from work to find 3 or 4 women sitting in my living room drinking wine and laughing loudly. They would glance at me as I walked in, but no one introduced themselves or acknowledged my presence beyond a polite nod. Linda also began critiquing things around the apartment. "Graham, you really should fold your shirts better," she said one day, standing in the doorway of my bedroom as I put away laundry. "They will get wrinkled if you just stuff them in the drawer like that." I looked at her, then at my drawer, then back at her. I will keep that in mind. Another time she leaned over my shoulder as I was cooking. "You should not eat so much red meat," she said, wrinkling her nose. "It is bad for your heart." I was grilling a steak, my steak, that I bought with my money. "Thanks for the advice," I said, not turning around. These comments, these intrusions, they piled up. Every day felt like another small invasion, another piece of my space being taken from me. I started dreading coming home. That apartment, which used to be my refuge, had become a place where I felt like an outsider. Things got worse, much worse. Sarah started to change. It was subtle at first, but I noticed. When I came home, she would not greet me with a hug or a kiss anymore. She would be sitting on the couch with Linda deep in conversation, and I would get a distracted, "Hey," without either of them even looking at me. Our private time together evaporated. I would suggest we go out for dinner, just the 2 of us, and Sarah would say, "We should take Mom, too." She has been cooped up in the apartment all week. Every activity, every plan suddenly included Linda. Date night became family night. Our bedroom, which used to be our sanctuary, became a place Sarah avoided. One night I reached for her wanting to be close and she pulled away. "Not tonight," she whispered. "Mom might hear us through the walls." I stared at the ceiling, feeling a coldness settle into my chest. We were married. We lived together, but I felt more alone than I ever had. I tried to talk to Sarah about it. One evening I found her alone in the kitchen and took the opportunity. "Sarah," I said, keeping my voice low, "I love that we are helping your mom, but I feel like we are losing our privacy. Our marriage is suffering." Her face hardened. "She is my mother, Graham. She needs us right now. Can you not be a little more understanding?" "I am understanding," I said, "but it has been over 4 months and—" "And what?" she interrupted. "You want me to kick my own mother out onto the street? That is not what I'm saying. I just think we need to set some boundaries." She shook her head, her expression a mix of disappointment and anger. "You are being selfish." I felt like I had been slapped. Selfish, I was the one paying the rent. I was the one who had opened my home to Linda without hesitation. I was the one who had been patient, accommodating, bending over backwards to make everyone comfortable except myself. But I did not say any of that. I just walked away, my hands shaking. Linda, meanwhile, became even more assertive. She started issuing rules. "Graham, please take your shoes off at the door," she said one day as I walked in. "You are tracking dirt everywhere." I looked down at my shoes, which were barely dusty. "Okay." "And can you keep it down in the morning?" she added. "Your alarm wakes me up at 6. My alarm, in my bedroom, waking me up for my job that paid for everything. "I will try," I said, biting back frustration. "And another thing," she continued, "I do not like it when you leave dishes in the sink overnight. It attracts bugs." I had left one plate in the sink the night before because I was exhausted and went straight to bed. 1 plate. "Got it," I said, my jaw clenched. The second bedroom, which I had been using as a small home office and gym, was now entirely Linda's. My dumbbells were shoved into a corner of the closet. My desk was buried under her clothes and boxes. I had nowhere in the apartment that felt like mine anymore. One Friday evening I dragged myself home after a particularly brutal week at work. All I wanted was to collapse on the couch, order some takeout, and watch a game. But when I opened the door, I was greeted by the sound of laughter and clinking glasses. Linda had invited her friends over again. There were 5 women in my living room sitting around the coffee table with wine glasses and plates of cheese and crackers. The apartment smelled like perfume and Chardonnay. I stood in the doorway, stunned. No one had told me about this. No one had asked if it was okay. I tried to be polite. I nodded at the women, forced a smile, and made my way to the kitchen to grab a drink. But as I passed the couch, one of Linda's friends stood up quickly, bumping into me, and her wine glass tipped over. Red wine spilled across the couch cushion, the one I had bought 2 years ago with money from my first bonus at work. I froze, staring at the growing stain. "Oh no!" the woman exclaimed, grabbing napkins and dabbing uselessly at the fabric. Linda rushed over, fretting, but she did not look at me. She did not apologize. She just kept saying, "It is okay. It is okay. We will get it out." Something inside me snapped. "Linda," I said, my voice louder than I intended, "this is too much. You cannot just invite people over without asking me. This is my home." The room went silent. All 5 women turned to look at me. Linda's expression shifted from concern to indignation. "Your home," she said, her voice rising. "Sarah lives here too, and I am her mother. I have every right to be here." "That is not the point," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. "The point is that you did not ask. You did not even tell me. I come home exhausted and my living room is full of strangers, and now my couch is ruined." "It is just a couch," Linda said dismissively. "We will clean it." "It is not just a couch," I shouted. "It is my couch, my apartment, my name on the lease." Sarah appeared from the bedroom, her face flushed. "Graham, what is going on? What is going on?" I said, turning to her. "Is that your mother keeps treating this place like it is hers, and I am tired of it." Sarah's eyes flashed with anger. "You are embarrassing me in front of my mom's friends. Can we talk about this later?" I felt the air leave my lungs. She was not on my side. She was not even trying to understand. "Fine," I said quietly. I turned and walked into the bedroom, closing the door behind me. The party continued without me. I could hear them laughing, talking like nothing had happened. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, feeling something inside me break. After the guests left, Sarah came into the bedroom. Linda followed her. "We need to talk," Sarah said, crossing her arms. "Agreed," I said. "Graham, this has gone too far," she began. "Your attitude toward my mom has been horrible. She's just trying to help, and you keep making her feel unwelcome." "Unwelcome?" I repeated, my voice incredulous. "Sarah, she's been here for over 4 months. She treats this place like it is hers. She criticizes everything I do, moves, my stuff, invites people over without asking, because she is trying to make it feel like home." Sarah interrupted. "She has nowhere else to go. Then she needs to find somewhere." I said, my voice rising. "This was supposed to be temporary. She is not even looking for a place." Linda stepped forward, her face red. "Maybe if you were not so unwelcoming, I would not feel like I have to defend my own daughter." "This is not about defending," I said. "This is about boundaries. This is my apartment. My name is on the lease. I pay the rent. I have every right to set rules in my own home." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "So that is what this is about. The fact that your name is on the lease. You want to lord that over us. That is not what I am saying." "Then what are you saying?" "Graham," she demanded. I took a breath, trying to calm down. "I am saying that I feel like a guest in my own home. I feel disrespected, and I need things to change." Sarah stared at me for a long moment. Then she said the words that would change everything. "If you do not like my mom living here, you can leave." The room went silent. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. "What?" I whispered. "You heard me," Sarah said, her voice cold. "If you have such a problem with my mom being here, then leave. No one is forcing you to stay." I looked at her. This woman I had married, this woman I had loved, and I did not recognize her. Linda stood beside her, arms crossed, a smug expression on her face. I did not say anything. I turned, walked out of the bedroom, grabbed my keys, and left the apartment. I drove around for hours, my mind racing, my heart pounding. When I finally came back late that night, Sarah and Linda were asleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying her words over and over. "You can leave." And that is when the plan started to form. I woke up the next morning with a clarity I had not felt in months. Sarah's words echoed in my mind, but instead of feeling hurt, I felt something else. Resolve. She had told me to leave. Fine. I would leave, but not the way she expected. I sat at my desk at work that day and started thinking through the logistics. The apartment lease was in my name. Only my name. Sarah was not on any legal documents related to the apartment. I was the one who signed the contract with the landlord, Mr. Peterson. I was the one who paid the rent every month from my checking account, which meant I was the only one with any legal obligation. And if I chose to stop fulfilling that obligation, well, that was my decision to make. The plan was simple. Ruthless, maybe, but simple. Step 1. Find a new place for myself. Step 2. Move my belongings out gradually without them noticing. Step 3. Stop paying the rent. Step 4. Let Mr. Peterson handle the eviction process. Step 5. Walk away. I did not feel guilty. I felt liberated. That afternoon, during my lunch break, I started browsing rental listings. I found a studio apartment across town, smaller than what I had now, but it was affordable. $520 a month, significantly cheaper than what I was paying for the two-bedroom. I called the landlord, set up a viewing for the next day, and by the end of the week I had signed a new lease. The apartment was available immediately. I paid the deposit and first month's rent, and just like that, I had somewhere to go. Now came the tricky part, moving out without anyone noticing. I started small. Every morning I would pack a bag with a few items, clothes, toiletries, important documents, and take them to work with me. At the end of the day, instead of going straight home, I would stop by my new studio and drop everything off. Sarah and Linda did not notice. They were too wrapped up in their own world, watching television, chatting with each other, barely acknowledging me when I came home. Over the next 10 days, I moved almost everything that mattered to me. My clothes, my shoes, my laptop, my important paperwork, family photos from my side of the family, a few sentimental items my dad had given me before he passed. I was careful to only take things that were mine, nothing that belonged to Sarah or was jointly owned. The apartment started to look emptier, but neither of them seemed to pay attention. Linda was too busy redecorating, and Sarah was too busy enabling her. Once my things were safely in the new place, I moved to step 3. The rent was due on the 1st of the month. I had always paid it on time, never missed a payment in the 3 years I had lived there. Mr. Peterson, the landlord, was a no-nonsense man in his 60s, who did not tolerate late payments. According to the lease, if rent was more than 5 days late, he could issue a notice to vacate. I decided not to pay. The first came and went. No payment. I also stopped paying the utilities, electricity, water, internet, all of which were in my name. On the 7th, a white envelope appeared on the apartment door. Sarah found it when she got home from work. I was already at my new place when my phone started ringing. It was Sarah. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, and again. Finally, I answered. "Graham." She shouted, her voice panicked. "What the hell is this? Why did you not pay the rent?" I kept my voice calm. "I decided not to." "What do you mean you decided not to?" she demanded. "We are going to get evicted." "You are going to get evicted," I corrected. "I do not live there anymore." There was a stunned silence. "What?" she whispered. "You told me to leave," I said. "So I did. I found a new place. I moved out. That apartment is yours now. You and your mom can figure out the rent." "You cannot just stop paying," she yelled. "That is not how this works. Your name is on the lease. You are responsible." "You are right," I said. "My name is on the lease, my responsibility, and I am choosing not to fulfill it. Good luck with Mr. Peterson." "Graham, where are you?" she demanded. "Are you coming home?" "I'm not coming back," I said. "I'm done." I hung up. She called back immediately, but I did not answer. She called 5 more times. I blocked her number. I could imagine the scene at the apartment. Sarah, panicking, showing Linda the eviction notice. Linda, probably shocked and indignant, demanding to know how this could happen. Both of them realizing that they had no way to pay $750 in rent. Sarah worked part-time at a retail store. Her paychecks were small, barely enough to cover her own expenses. Linda had no steady income, just whatever savings she had left from her divorce, which clearly was not much. They could not afford the apartment. Not without me. 3 days passed. According to the lease, they had 72 hours to either pay the full rent or vacate. They did neither. Mr. Peterson filed for eviction. The process in our state was fast, especially for non-payment. Within 2 weeks, they were given a court date. I heard about all of this through a mutual friend who still talked to Sarah. Apparently, Sarah tried to negotiate with Mr. Peterson, begging for more time. He refused. He had been patient with late payments before from other tenants, but this was different. No payment at all, no communication from the person on the lease. He was done. The eviction was finalized. Sarah and Linda had to leave. I heard through the same friend that Linda ended up moving in with an old friend of hers, some woman who lived an hour away. Sarah had to rent a room in a house with 3 other people, a tiny space in a rough neighborhood far from her job. They were furious. Sarah sent me one final email before I blocked her there too. It was full of anger, accusations, insults. She called me heartless, cruel, vindictive. She said I had left them homeless, that I had abandoned my wife. I read it once, then deleted it. I did not feel guilty. I felt free. My new studio apartment is small. It is maybe 1/3 of the size of the place I used to rent, but it is mine. Completely mine. There is no one here to criticize how I cook my dinner. No one to tell me what to watch on television. No one to move my things or invite strangers into my space without asking. I come home from work, and it is quiet, peaceful. I cook a steak exactly how I like it, medium rare with a little garlic butter. I watch whatever game I want. I fall asleep without tension knotting my shoulders. My coworkers have noticed the change. "You seem lighter," one of them said to me last week. "Like a weight has been lifted." She was right. I had been carrying so much stress, so much frustration for so long that I had forgotten what it felt like to just exist without constantly being on edge. I reconnected with some old friends, guys I used to hang out with before Sarah and I got serious. We grabbed beers, watched games, talked about nothing important. It felt good. Normal. A few weeks after the eviction, Sarah tried reaching out again. She sent messages through mutual friends asking if we could talk. At first, her messages were apologetic. "Graham, please, can we talk? I miss you. I'm sorry about everything." I did not respond. Then the tone shifted. She got angry again. "You are heartless. You left us homeless. How could you do this to me?" Still, I said nothing. Finally, she tried to turn it around to make herself the victim. "This is all your fault. You abandoned your wife. You are a terrible person." I blocked the mutual friends who kept passing along her messages. My lawyer started the divorce paperwork. It was straightforward. No kids, no shared property, no complicated assets. Just a marriage that had died long before I walked out the door. I do not hate Sarah. I do not even hate Linda. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just sad that it came to this. Sad that Sarah chose her mother over her husband. Sad that the woman I loved looked me in the eye and told me to leave my own home. But I learned something through all of this. I learned that boundaries matter. That you cannot set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. That kindness without self-respect is just self-destruction. I gave and gave and gave, and it was never enough. I sacrificed my comfort, my space, my peace of mind, and I was still painted as the bad guy. So I stopped giving. I took back control of my own life. And if that makes me heartless in their eyes, so be it. I also learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away. Even if other people call it cruel. Even if they do not understand. I am not looking for anyone's approval anymore. I am not trying to be the good guy or the hero. I am just trying to be at peace. And for the first time in months, I am. I sit in my studio apartment looking out the window as the sun sets over the city. It is a new view, a new beginning. I do not know what the future holds, but I know this: I will never again let someone make me feel like a stranger in my own home. They wanted me gone. They got what they asked for. But they forgot one thing. I was already homeless in my own home long before I walked out that door. So let me ask you, have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because staying was destroying you? Have you ever been made to feel like the villain for setting boundaries? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories, and I know others watching could benefit from hearing they are not alone. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who might be going through something similar. And subscribe to the channel for more real stories about life relationships and finding the courage to stand up for yourself. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I hope wherever you are, whatever you are going through, you find the strength to choose yourself. You deserve respect. You deserve peace. And you deserve a home where you actually feel at home. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.